Welcome to my class. I'm Ishwar Neupane, teaching science in Anupam Vidyasadan. And students, I'm giving class from Destination Educational Hub at Gongabu Baniatar, Kathmandu, both online and offline classes. So today, let's see what are we going to discuss. Classification of elements, which is of grade 10. Duplet and duplet rule. Okay, next one is octet and octet rule. Then chemical and electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Next heading is characteristics of electrovalent compounds, formation of sodium chloride. That is all. Okay, students. Okay, my dear students, let's begin first. Duplet and what is next? Duplet. So let me circle what is here. I'm circling duplet and next one is duplet. Okay, students. Duplet. Actually, it is tri, tetra, penta, etc. Mono means 1, di means 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4. So, duplet means 2. Earlier, could you remember the cells? K, L, M, N, O, they are cells. And we have studied about sub-cells also. What are they? S, P, D. Okay. And we have already discussed the capacity of cell as well as sub-cell. Electron holding capacity of cell is calculated by using the formula 2n square. Here 2 is fixed number and n is number of energy level, like and fourth, etc. Okay, and the L 8, M 18, and O 50, etc. Already discussed. Next thing, what have we discussed? The electron holding capacity of our subcells. S subcell 2, P subcell 6, D subcell 10, F subcell 14. Now students, if there are only electrons in case cell, there is one cell, and if there are 2 electrons present in it, then it is called duplet. What is it called? Now let's discuss here the definition of duplet. Presence of 2 electrons in the case duplet. Presence of 2 electrons in K cell of an atom with single cell. Next condition is there. Single cell. There must be only one cell, only K cell, and this duplet is possible only in which one? Is possible only in helium. Helium has got only one cell. What is that? I'm going to write here helium. So helium is written as He and its atomic number is 2. So we write here 1s2 simply, or it is written as 2 only because there are 2 electrons in K cell. So there is one subcell, that is S. So helium shows the property of duplet. So the electron holding capacity of K cell is 2. It is completely filled. It does not need any more electrons to be stable. So helium duplet, but other elements are not in duplet. For example, there is beryllium. What is there? Beryllium. Beryllium is written as B. Look at here in the screen, and its atomic number is 4. 2, 2. See, in K cell there are 2 electrons. In L cell also 2 electrons, but is not in duplet because its K cell has 2 electrons. These 2 number of electrons, they are in L cell. So keep in mind, only one electron it is already in, that is helium. So we came to know that if there are 2 K cell, then it is stable. So the elements like beryllium, boron, they may attain the state of either by gaining electron or losing electron. Here we have to keep in mind that helium is stable because its first orbit is full of electrons. So there is now here one definition: the tendency of an atom with a single cell to attain 2 electrons in its K cell is called the Duplet rule. There is slight difference between duplet and duplet rule. Duplet, already the atom is in stable state, that is helium. Rest of others, lithium, hydrogen, beryllium, boron, what do? They attain the state of helium, means they possess only one cell and 2 electrons. That tendency is duplet rule. So once again, let's see here. Let's say presence of 2 electrons in the K cell of an atom with a single cell is duplet, and the tendency of an atom with a single cell to attain 2 electrons in its K cell is called the duplet. Here just keep in mind, helium is stable state. Other elements, hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, they are active because their cell is not full of electrons. They either gain or lose electrons to be students. That was duplet and duplet rule. Now let's discuss about octet and octet rule. You know, octagon. What is the meaning of octagon? 8 sides is octagon, right? So here octet means presence of in the valence shell of an atom is called octet. If there are electrons in their valence shell, outermost shell, then it is called octet. So which elements have got, do you have any idea? Which elements are in octet? Elements like neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon in octet. Neon, argon, krypton and radon, they are in octet. Why? Because their outermost shell Outermost shell contains how many electrons? 8 electrons. So if the outermost shell contains 8 electrons, stable, non-reactive. That's why already we discussed anode gases are passive because their valence shell is full of electrons and they gain electrons, nor donate electrons, nor share electrons. They are already full of electrons, need to get any electrons for them. That's why they are inert. But rest of other elements, they are, so they either gain electron or share electrons to possess the state like that of inert gases. Now here, then definition of which one? Look at here, the natural tendency of an atom to make 8 electrons in its valence shell by losing or sharing electrons. How can they get 8 electrons in their valence shell? There are to gain electron, lose electron, or share electrons between the combining atoms during the formation of molecule is called octet rule. Make concept clear. Presence of 2 electrons in K cell only, duplet. Presence of 8 electrons in valence shell, outermost shell. Tendency of making 2 electrons in valence shell, that is, what is it? Octet rule. My dear students, you pay attention. Make your, then everything will be done quite easily. Okay, so students, now that was duplet rule, octet rule. Now here is one example: sodium atom and chlorine atom. Sodium, just take it here. Sodium 281 means it has got 3 orbits, 3 shells. K has 2 electrons, M has 8 electrons, and N has 1 electron. Okay. Next one, chlorine 287. K has 2 electrons, L 8, M 7. Students, how can the atom be stable? Either having 2 electrons in or 8 electrons in other cells. That's why sodium do, this 1 electron, it only 2 and 8 electrons in its cell. See, in outermost orbit are here 8 electrons are not? 8 now, and sodium is also octet state now. That's why when sodium and chlorine react with each other, then both of them possess octet state. Here is given Na plus N28 sodium atom. Look at here. I'm going to show you Na plus and L minus I have shown here. Na plus why? Because its configuration will be 288. Now sodium chloride NaCl stable. Sodium chloride is stable because there is formation of sodium atom and chlorine atom. Students, now let's discuss next thing, causes of chemical reaction. chemical reaction is defined as, what is it? Chemical change in which the combination of atoms or displacement of atoms or decomposition of a compound, right? So because of chemical reaction, the atoms become stable. They become stable by processes. I said earlier, what are they? What are the three processes? Are either the electrons are gained, or shared. One donates, it loses, another gets, that is gaining. But sometimes what do? They share. My dear students, why do they gain? Why do they share? Why do they electrons? Do you know? They gain, they lose, they share the electrons to possess the electronic configuration similar to inert gases. Inert gases. Why similar to inert gases? So that they become passive, unstable. Okay, so those elements, those metals which transfer their valence electrons faster, they are called active metals. Actually, remember, non-metals gain electrons, but metals are not always very active. Some metals are very active metals. Students, what do you mean by active metals and passive metals? Active metals are metals which lose electrons fast, and passive means which lose electrons slower. Sodium, potassium, they are active. Aluminium is, gold is more passive. Okay, they gain electron faster. Metals lose electrons, non-metals electrons. Which non-metals gain electron faster? Do you know? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, they gain electron fast. That's why they are called very active non-metals. Students, metals which lose electrons faster are very active metals. Non-metals which gain. So here is one definition. The tendency of atoms to attain the stable electronic configuration is the real cause of chemical reaction. They want to have stable electronic configuration like that of inert gases. Because of that, chemical reaction takes place. Okay, dear students, atoms of elements may gain, lose, or share electrons. I already said. Because of gaining or sharing of electrons, some sort of force is developed between them. Some sort of force, and that force is called, what is it called? Chemical bond. So, dear students, now you just see, I'm going to attraction by which atoms or group of atoms are combined together. Chemical molecule or compound is called a chemical bond. Because of that force of attraction between atoms or group of atoms, there is linkage. Compound is stable. It's called chemical bond. Like I am going to write here H2O. You know what is water molecule? So in water molecule, two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom and molecule of. There is force of attraction between oxygen atom and hydrogen atoms. So a kind of chemical formed among them. Here is one example, NH3. NH3. Do you know what is? This is the molecule of ammonia gas. Here are linked with one nitrogen atom. Atoms are linked with one nitrogen atom. There is four. Do you know how many types of bonds or chemical bonding or chemical bond or chemical linkage are there? There are altogether three. The three types of chemical bonds are electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Next one, coordinate bond. Electrovalent bond or also called ionic bond, covalent bond, and what is next? Electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Students, we have already discussed about different type of elements. They are metals. Generally, metals combine with non-metals. Metals and metals, they do not combine. They are electron donors, isn't it? And non-metals also can combine with non-metals, and metal with non-metals. Okay. So, what is electrovalent definition? That is found between metal atom and non-metal atom. Okay, found between metal and non-metal or atoms of metal and non-metal is called electrovalent bond. So, this bond is found losing and gaining of electrons. Losing and gaining of electrons and becomes positive ion. Positive ion means in its power we write or plus, Na plus. Or students, if I write Ca plus plus, you have to keep in mind that it has lost 2 electrons. Na plus 1. And what about non-metals? They gain electron and become negatively charged ion or minus. Na plus positive ion or cation. It is not called cation. It's cation. Cation. No, it is cation. And when chlorine gains electron, it becomes negative ion. It is called anion. So electrovalent bond is found between metal and non-metal. Metal loses electrons and becomes, and non-metal gains electrons and becomes negatively charged ion or anion. Cation and anion, that's why it is also called ionic bond. Ion. Can you see here or not? Cation anion. That's why ionic bond. What is the other name of electrovalent bond? That is ion. So let's see here one definition. What is given here? Of electrons from the valence shell of one atom to the valence shell of an ionic bond. So electrons are transferred from valence shell of one atom to valence shell of another. Valency is called electrovalency. What is it called? Electrovalency. Those compounds bound by electrovalent bond are called electrovalent compounds or ionic. The electrovalent compound is sodium chloride, NaCl. Students, where is electrovalent bond formed? Between metal and non-metal. Between metal and non-metal. Okay, students. Now, electrovalency. What the definition of electrovalency? Just check it here. I'm going to circle it and see very clearly. The number of lost by an atom to attain stable electronic configuration is known as electrovalency of the atom. Number of electrons gained or lost. Electrons are lost by that atom, or how many electrons are gained by electrovalency. Let me give you one example. Sodium chloride, NaCl, it is written as A plus and Cl minus. Dear students, you find out the sodium and chlorine. Can you say what is it? What is given? And A plus is given. No, plus means one plus is there. Means electrovalency of sodium is, and Cl minus is given. Electrovalency of chlorine is 1. So to know the electrovalency, we have to see the charge. Yeah. Is that clear? I think it's much better and clear for you. Now students, what are you going to discuss? Electrovalent compounds. Remember, electrovalent compounds are the compounds by the help of electrovalent bond. By the help of electrovalent bond. What are the characteristics? So, the main characteristic is, see here, they have high melting and boiling points. They have high melting and boiling point. Between them is very high. Second point is, they are found in the solid state and they are hard and they break easily. They can conduct electricity when they are in solution form or molten state, liquid form. And they are soluble in water. They dissolve in water and they do not dissolve in organic solvents. What are the examples of organic? Like petrol, ether, kerosene. Them electrovalent compounds are not soluble and they contain metal in their molecule. Why? Because they are formed by the reaction between metal and non-metal. Okay, these are 5 characteristics of electrovalent compounds. My dear students, so for today's last portion, what are you going to discuss? of sodium chloride molecule. Formation of sodium chloride molecule. You can see terms of chlorine and how is the arrangement going on. Let's check. So sodium chloride. Sodium is metal, chlorine is non-metal. And we have already discussed the bond in metal and non-metal is called electrovalent bond or ionic bond. First of all, let's see the electronic configuration is 287 and sodium is 281. 287 and 281. Dear students, at last here is one sodium and at last there are 7 electrons in chlorine. So what does sodium do? Sodium gives 1 electron to chlorine from here to here. If so, sodium atom possesses now the configuration 28. See here 28, and chlorine atom possesses, see here I have circled 28 in sodium, 288 in chlorine. So in sodium at last there are 2 electrons, it is octet. Here also 8 electrons, it is octet. Now both are stable. Chlorine atom is also stable, but in this case they are called ion. What are they called? Ion, because they contain positive and negative charge. Dear student, what is the difference between atom and ion? Can you say? It is chargeless, it has no charge. Ion is charged, it contains either positive charge or this is one example of electrovalent compound sodium chloride. So there are other compounds like magnesium chloride, magnesium oxide, sodium sulfide, aluminum chloride, potassium chloride, aluminum oxide, which are also electrovalent compounds. Atom sharing the electrons, another atom gaining the electrons. So dear students, those are of today's syllabus. Now you manage your copy and write the question. Define octet. What is the question? Define duplet. Define duplet rule and octet rule. Duplet rule and octet rule. Question number 3. Define electrovalency. Write the electrovalency of sodium in chlorine. Ion and chlorine ion we can write, or chloride ion. Okay. Next question. Define chemical. Write its types. Define chemical bond, write its types. Next. What is electrovalent bond? What is electrovalent bond? Write the characteristics of electrovalent bonds. Draw the diagram to show the formation of sodium chloride molecule. Draw the molecule. Okay, my dear students, today we will meet tomorrow at the same time. I hope you are practicing and utilizing the during lockdown. Have a lovely and wonderful time.